Let's talk about what makes a LEGO Bionicle MOC good. We'll come up with a sort of like checklist of things that, in my opinion, make a LEGO creation stand out from the crowd and can be considered great. We'll discuss this in relation to this awesome LEGO Godzilla MOC by Jafer, but before we discuss that, I need your help. At the end of the year, I have a bit of a tradition where I rank the top 10 Bionicle MOCs that were made that year. Now, I already have some in mind that I think warrant that title, but I don't want this video to just be my thoughts alone, I want to hear your thoughts too. What MOCs that were built in the year 2023 do you reckon rank among the best? Well, if you could send me MOCs that you've built, or maybe that some of your friends have built, or MOCs that some of your favorite builders that you look up to have built, then I'll add them to the list of contenders and I'll pick out the top 10 MOCs that best fit the rank of best Bionicle MOCs of 2023. So if you can send them to me over email, this email specifically, that's bissubmission@hotmail.com, and be sure to include the words top 10 2023 in the email, then that way I can take in like the thoughts and the opinions of the community as best I can and get a list that best represents everyone's views. So any help you can provide on that would be very much appreciated. Thank you. But what exactly makes a Bionicle MOC good? Well, with the help of Jafer's Godzilla MOC here, let's discuss that. So I've got like kind of 5 categories that I often look for on Bionicle and construction style MOCs. Number 1 is interesting or unique textures. Now, I feel like textures are very important for a MOC because it can give the illusion of depth or you make a piece seem a little bit more realistic. So most versions of Godzilla, specifically the Monsterverse version that this MOC is based off of, have that iconic, rough, almost like crocodile skin look. And Jafer has perfectly replicated this texture here with a variety of different pieces. So for example, we've got these wedge pieces that have this rocky design to them. And there's another type of wedge piece that has a pretty similar look, but it's a little bit different. And then we've got a bunch of these dots quarter tiles. All in all, these different pieces perfectly replicate the texture of Godzilla, and it is just beautiful to see. And I think that's what helps make this a very good MOC, in my opinion. Number 2 is making your LEGO creation not actually look like a LEGO creation. Now, the way that Jafer has placed all these textured elements onto Godzilla, and how he's crafted proportions and smooth, seamless angles, it all creates such wonderful shaping. There's barely any gaps between the transitioning sections of the body, and because of that, it really looks like this could be a living and breathing creature. Anytime you can create strange angles or the iconic look and feel of animals, people, or any other creature with blocky LEGO bricks, well, then you're doing something very special. So yeah, using LEGO bricks to make something not look like it's actually made out of LEGO bricks, and you look at it and you go, ooh, I almost didn't think that was made out of LEGO. You've done something right. Number 3 is detail and realism. Now, I kind of already touched on this. If you can make something look very realistic or allow it to mimic the source material in some incredible ways, like Jafer did, then you've done something right. Now, in my previous point, back in number 2, I said that it was about making LEGO not look like LEGO. I think you can still have something look realistic or accurate to the source material, but it can still look a little bit more blocky or LEGO-like. You know, it could be a LEGO version of that, not you trying to completely replicate it, but using LEGO bricks as a medium. So here with point number 3, I'm more establishing the term realism as accuracy to what it's based off of, more so than it feeling like it's not actually made out of LEGO bricks. I think there is a distinction there. But on the detail side of things, I always enjoy seeing high levels of detail packed into a LEGO creation. And Jafer has certainly done that here. All the different spikes on Godzilla's back and the way they get smaller and smaller as they transition down the tail, that's a lovely detail. Or the attention to detail with this head design, using flex tube in yellow, which is a little bit hollow on the inside, and that hollow part there looks like a little tiny pupil for the eye. That's a fantastic detail. Or the way that he's used studs to mimic teeth on the jaw design. All these little things make a MOC stand out. And it's just so much fun to study a MOC and see all those tiny details. When a MOC doesn't have a lot of detail to it, it can get a little boring or just a little bland. It's the kind of stuff that you could leave out, but the fact you put it in, that makes it special. So details and realism, they're very important. Number 4 now is presence and personality. This Godzilla MOC has a presence to it. It's imposing and it carries with it the same levels of fear and power that the actual Godzilla has. Jafer certainly has packed in some level of personality to this build. It's not just a pile of bricks, it looks like a living and breathing creature with emotions and character and personality. Yeah, in the same way that animation brings a drawing to life and conveys real emotion, if you can make your character or creature build feel like it is a real and living thing with emotions behind its eyes and feelings and soul inside it, then you're doing something right. And honestly, few builders can accomplish that. It's not an easy thing to do. I also include personality as a builder including their own unique touches or a part of themselves in their creation. You know, it's easy to just tick off the points on a checklist and say, oh, my mock looks good because of all these technical reasons. But it will lack that same kind of spark if you don't make the build your own. Now, how do you do that exactly? Well, it's something I think only you can answer. You have to add your own unique touch to it. That could be as simple as your own unique building style, or your own unique thoughts and ideas, or maybe just some colors or pieces that you like, or I don't know, something that is uniquely you. You put that into your build in some way. It's for the same reasons that a lot of very famous artists like Van Gogh do that. They put their own personality into the paintings, and when you look at it, you kind of learn a little bit about them. That kind of personal touch is important. It can be super obvious like Van Gogh, or it can be a little bit more subtle, and it can just be like, oh yeah, I can definitely tell that Jafer made that. That's a difficult one to explain, but you certainly know it when you see it. I'd say that number 4 here is probably one of the most important points to consider. You can follow every other point, but if it lacks soul and it doesn't have that unique personal touch to it, then it may not be as special. But when it does include a bit of personality, that's when it can be marked amongst the best. The final point, number 5, is NPU, otherwise known as nice part use, as well as good building techniques. Everyone loves a clever or unique building technique, so that's certainly a win for any creation. But if you can use pieces in creative and clever ways that maybe weren't the intended use for that part, but they look perfect in this context, well then that's extra special. Jafer's Godzilla mock doesn't really do that as much. It's got a lot of good building techniques and it looks lovely, but it's not the best example of an NPU. A mock that is, however, is Wormy World's mock called Oni Lloyd. This does this very well. This insane head design uses a Lego crab piece to shape the fangs on the mouth. Then you couple that with this hood piece from this collectible minifigure, and you have something very special. You never would have thought those two pieces would make such a good mouth design. That's NPU. So those are my 5 points for what I think goes into making a mock great. But that's my personal opinion. Some people need a mock to be posable, much like this mock called Quad Arms Utility Mech by Ketlogs Mechs and Mocks. Now, I agree a good level of posability adds so much to a character build, and it can be a great way to showcase personality. But some people like to see mocks, much like Wormy World's Libra Dragon here. You know, it's not that posable at all, it's more of a display piece, it's more like an artwork. Some people like to see that. Or people like to see recognizable characters. You know, like this mock here, Tahu Lord of Fire built by Brandon Builds. People will enjoy a mock more because it's a character that they know and love. And then sometimes people just like to see mocks that are big and impressive. Now this isn't a Bionicle mock, it's a creation called Moff Gideon's Light Cruiser by Aaron Monaghan and Martin Harris. And this was a fan favourite that kind of stole the show at Brickvention, which is a LEGO convention in Melbourne, Australia. Now, people just loved this, mainly because of how huge it was. Now personally, I prefer smaller scale mocks. I think it's a lot harder to pack in detail into a smaller space, whereas it can be a little bit easier to do that on a bigger mock like this where there's a lot more surface area. But also, people like a good colour scheme, and this Acrosaurus by Anthony Wilson has one of the coolest colour schemes I've ever seen. It's just gorgeous. So all in all, it really just comes down to personal preference. People like different things for different reasons. My list of 5 things is what I like to see in mocks. Yours might differ, and you know what, that's okay. So whatever you submit to be featured in this top 10 mocks of 2023 video that I'm yet to make, it doesn't have to include those previous points. If you enjoy the mock, if it inspired you, if it made you smile, that's all that matters. And hey, hopefully this discussion has helped inspire you or give you some food for thought for ways that you could improve your LEGO creations. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay tuned for that top 10 mocks video coming your way towards the end of the year. Happy building, and bye for now.